In this video, let me talk about a ghost IP related issue in my home network and the step-by-step investigation to find out the root cause. Please note, this video is not for general discussion about ghost IP. It's just a very special case in my network. I simply want to share my investigation experience with you. In UniFi network controller, if I go to system log, go to triggers, I will see a whole bunch of logs from the same source IP to one of the two destination IP addresses, either the 153 or 213. If I click on a random one, this is the source IP address. It's the same among all the logs, and the destination, it doesn't say any MAC address, just the IP address is logged. And if you check the timestamp, you can see every 5 minutes the UNVR will try to access one of the two IP addresses. The problem is, in my network, I even do not have a subnet which is .1. It doesn't exist at all. Because of the existence of the two ghost IP addresses in my system logs, I decide to spend some time getting to the root of it. The UNVR is in subnet 16. As you can see, this is the network configuration for VLAN 16. Nothing special, it's just one of the VLANs. And the default network, the VLAN 1, I configured the default network with subnet 2 on purpose. You know, many network devices, they have the default IP in the subnet 1. So sometimes I want to avoid potential conflicts, configured my default network in non-1 subnet. In fact, that's why I can even detect this problem. Otherwise, if my default network is in subnet 1, nothing will be captured in the system logs. Then I won't even be aware of the ghost IP address issues, right? Okay, so this is my default network in subnet 2. And if I check the firewall rules, I do have a deny all firewall rule configured. The methodology I follow when it comes to firewall configuration is I disable the inter-VLAN communication by default. Only if needed, I will open up the access. That's why I have this deny all firewall rule as the basis of the firewall configuration. The source is any local network IP address, and the destination is any local IP address. It will be dropped by default. Then let's check the system logs again. You can see the source IP address is in 16 subnet. Destination is in .1 subnet. That's why it's denied by this firewall rule. That's why this is captured in system log. To find out what's the device for this IP address, of course, the apparent first step is try to get the MAC address. MAC address identifies the hardware. This system log is just for the firewall rule. It's not on the level 2 level. That's why MAC address is not captured for this destination IP address. To find out the mapping between this IP address and the MAC address, I want to check the ARP table. I use the UX3 Pro as the router, and the UNVR is in subnet 16. And I have other subnets as well. So the ghost network is in subnet 1, and the example ghost IP is this one. And to check the ARP, let me go to the UNVR first, SSH into it. I'm in. Let me run the ARP command, only get the information I'm interested in, which is the ghost IP. Nothing's returned. So the strange thing is, even though this UNVR has been trying to communicate with this device, this IP address, in its ARP table, it doesn't know the MAC address for this IP address, which means this communication has never been successful. Just in case the IP address has the name in the ARP table, let me use the numeric format, search it again. No, still nothing's found. Since I found no clue in the ARP table for UNVR, let me switch to the router UX3 Pro. Let me run the same command. Nothing's found. Run it again using numeric format. Still nothing's found. I didn't specify the interface, so by default it should include everything from all interfaces. Again, even in the router, the ARP resolving has never been done successfully for this IP address. Let me try another approach in UNVR. As you can see in the system log, every 5 or 10 minutes, the UNVR will try to access this example ghost IP address, right? You may know in UniFi device, it comes with the TCP dump. Basically, it's a command line tool to capture the network communications. As long as I capture it for at most 10 minutes, I should be able to capture something, right? So I hope in the captured information, I can find some details about this ghost IP address. This is the command I'm going to run. Basically, I want to capture any interfaces for this UNVR as long as the host is this IP address. And I want to find the detailed information. Let me run it. Okay, I don't have to wait for too long. One packet has been captured. Let me kill the session. Let's see what's in the captured information. This is the timestamp, this interface, and it's out. So the UNVR is taking initiative, trying to reach out to this IP address. And this MAC address is the UNVR's network interface MAC address, not the destination MAC address. Yes, it has the destination IP address, port number. Nothing else is interesting. It doesn't have the MAC address. So it's disappointing. It's not big deal because we can use Wireshark to do similar thing. Let me configure Wireshark. So on the screen, the lower right is the Apple machine I'm going to use to run the Wireshark. And in the left, you see for the switch, I connect both the UNVR and the Mac machine to the same switch. The port 20 is connected to the Apple machine now, and the port 15 is connected to the UNVR, which is the source device. We can confirm from the IP address and the MAC address that's the device which has been trying to communicate with the ghost IP address, right? So what we want to achieve is to run Wireshark from the port 20 and capture the port 15 packets. I simply configure the port 20, set it to mirroring, and then on the Mac machine, let me launch Wireshark. This is the interface. I connect to the mirroring part on the UniFi switch. Start capturing. This is the captured file. I already filtered on the destination IP address with the ghost IP. A lot of packets were captured. That's promising. There's a pattern. Take the first round as example. The first one is a SYN TCP packet. It's a regular packet to initiate a TCP handshake. Nothing special. And then it followed by 4 retransmission packets. Why? Because the first one failed. The packet was dropped by my firewall rule, right? So that makes sense. After 4 failed ones, the same communication repeated. Okay, and let's go to the detail of the first example packet. Let me expand the Ethernet information. So the source, we already know the MAC address for my UNVR. What I'm really interested in is the destination. See, finally, we are able to see the destination device MAC address. This will give us some clue. As you can see, Wireshark correctly shows the prefix as Ubiquiti. Let me copy this MAC address. Then let me go to any MAC address lookup website. For example, this Wireshark one. Paste the MAC address, search. The prefix, these 3 parts, belongs to Ubiquiti. So at least now we see the UNVR has been trying to communicate with a Ubiquiti device. But in my home network, my Ubiquiti devices are either network switches, so they are in the management VLAN, or they are UniFi Protect cameras or accessories. They belong to the UniFi Protect VLAN. So I still need to find out what exact device this MAC address belongs to. To find out what exact device has the ghost IP address or the MAC address, of course, I can try to go through all the folders and the log files or configuration files in my Ubiquiti devices, try to find it out. But there's an easier way. Ubiquiti has a function in its console OS called download support file. So basically, it's used mainly when you try to report an issue to Ubiquiti support. They most likely want to download a file so that they will have a complete picture about your network configuration or what happened in recent days. We can utilize this function when we do our own troubleshooting. So let me download it now. Keep in mind, we are talking about the UNVR. So now I'm in the UNVR's UniFi OS, not the UniFi Network console OS. So let me download it now. Okay, it's downloaded. Let me extract it to a folder. It's a huge file, almost 45 megabytes. Okay, I already extracted. You can use whatever your preferred way, but I like Visual Studio Code because I can open a folder and search, display all the text file in it. So let me launch VS Code. I already opened the extracted folder. Let me try to search the ghost IP address. So this IP address appears in a lot of files, but the third hit really catches my eye because it mentioned this bridge UniFi AP. See the error details. Failed to reconnect to bridge U6 Pro with this IP address. If you have no idea why a UniFi access point has anything to do with a bridge, let me show you a UniFi document. In this document, Ubiquiti has listed all the Bluetooth supporting access point from UniFi. U6 Pro in this video is part of the Bluetooth supporting ones. If you wonder why a access point needs Bluetooth functionality, you can see here the uses. For example, device setup. For example, protect sensors. If you want to adopt a new AP, you may need help from the adjacent already adopted AP. Or if you want to use UniFi Protect sensors, the sensor doesn't support Wi-Fi. It has to connect to your network with the help of AP with AP's Bluetooth functionality. This is the UniFi console OS for the UNVR, not the network controller. If I go to setting, under system, you can see the bridge devices setting. U6 Pro is listed there, and this is the troublemaking IP address we talk about a lot in this video. And this is the MAC address, and the status says offline. We will go back to this setting later. Let's first talk about, okay, you just mentioned you don't have a subnet 1, then where this U6 Pro came from, right? This is for my current network setup. But several weeks ago, the UNVR did belong to my home lab, not my home network. The U6 Pro has been within my home lab. And when UNVR was part of the home lab, I did use UNVR, adopted a UniFi sensor. Because U6 Pro was part of the home lab, because it does support Bluetooth, the UNVR automatically added U6 Pro as the bridge device. So that's what happened. You may wonder, okay, now you already added the UNVR to your home network. Why the old setting were still there? That's the tricky part. Because if we are talking about a UniFi switch, for example, when you switch to another site, you cannot simply reconnect the cables. You have to first remove the device from your old site, then add it to your new site to adopt it again. Once it's adopted, all the old settings will be gone, right? But it's not the case for UNVR. You don't adopt UNVR to your UniFi network at all. So you simply reconnect the Ethernet cable. Then all of a sudden the UNVR will belong to your new site, to your new network setup. So that's why all the old settings are still there. So now everything's clear. Why the UNVR still has the ghost subnet, the one subnet, why the UNVR has been trying to connect to the ghost IP address, and where is the setting now for this U6 Pro. Let's see how we can resolve the issue. Now I'm back to the UNVR, the UniFi Protect console. Let's see whether I have any way to remove the U6 Pro from the bridge devices. Okay, see, if I disable the auto adopt bridge devices, there's a new options column. I can remove the AP. Okay, it's removed. Now let me re-enable the auto adopt bridge devices. Okay, I will give it some time. Let's say 10 minutes. Let's see whether I still receive the annoying ghost IP system logs. Okay, more than 10 minutes passed. Now I'm back to the system logs. You can see the very last log was more than 10 minutes ago. Since I removed the U6 Pro from bridge device, I have not received new logs about this issue. This is the end of the video. The root cause is about an old setting in UNVR's bridge device, but it's mixed with Ubiquiti's way of connecting to UniFi sensors, of moving UNVR from one side to another side, and the issue happened to be caught by my deny all firewall rules. A lot of factors contribute to this a little bit lengthy but interesting troubleshooting journey. Okay, thanks for watching.